Hey guys, welcome to Fishing Tackle channel. Today it's 17 June. I got on a angler's deep sea fishing out of Ocean City. So for this fishing trip, my daughter had to go to school for her last day, but my new fishing buddy Nick joined me for this trip here. Shout out to Nick for out fishing me with his sea bass, but I did wind up winning. I got lucky and caught some flounder, and I wound up winning a jackpot, the pool. So you'll see. I'll show you how I jigged my bucktails, and I'll show you what not to do because at the end you're gonna see me hooking on probably my personal best. Um, it's a big fish, biggest flounder probably that got away from me. So the biggest flounder I've caught so far was 24 inches, but this one that got away wasn't even close to a 24. I'm assuming it's much heavier or larger flounder because I've caught a halibut when I lived in Korea that was 36 inches, 17 pound, and it was almost similar to what I caught in Korea. So I knew I had something big, but I did everything wrong. So I'll show you at the end what I did right and what I did wrong. I got too excited. So next fishing trip, I'll be ready for this because I studied. I'm glad I filmed this. Again, I filmed it for YouTube, but I one of the main purposes I like to watch how I caught it and what I did right and what I did wrong. So, anyways, here I started off. I mean, anglers fishing is pretty popular, so we thought we won't have much shoulder space, but today was like the perfect condition for us. Not so much for anglers, but since they didn't have a uh, boat full capacity for today. But for us, I mean, we had enough space in between, so we really enjoyed it. The weather forecast was going to be high winds and choppy water, but it was great. And then the captain didn't even have to drift at all, so we anchored and fished most of the time. And I caught two flounders, keepers, and I caught it without having to drift, right? So yeah, if you're wondering, you could definitely catch flounders while anchored. So just keep that in mind. Here, just hot bites. You know, the angler. One of the great thing about angler captain is that he has his spots that he surveyed and probably worked hard to find. So, unlike other fishing boats where they take you to where everybody knows, right? There are like dozens and dozens of boats around. For angler, every time you go out, you're the only boat out there, and you expect about 2 hours or a little over 2 hours plus minus to get out there, and not a single boat out there. It's just anglers, deep sea fishing boat. So the captain really, I know, he must have surveyed and worked hard to and did his homework and research. So yeah, good for him. And that's probably the hard work probably pays off because, angler has great price that they haven't really raised at all. So kudos to them for keeping the price as is with the really high gas price. And at the same time, Captain continues to try hard, and the deckhands are very friendly and very helpful. So I wouldn't recommend going on weekends because it's gonna be a full pack um, fishing trip. So definitely go for weekdays because anglers is one of the most popular ones that go out on weekdays. And again, because captain takes you to the right spot. And it was a non-stop bite. So after a while, I think I got a little bit tired of, sea bass fishing. So and the bite started getting kind of cold. So I decided to try flounder. And then also I paid for the pool, so I wanted, and I've noticed that only one or two people were going for flounder. Everybody stayed with fishing for sea bass, so I said, why not go for the pool? The rod I'm using for today is a rod I bought from AliExpress. If you want to know, just leave a comment and I'll reply with exactly what model it is, and maybe the link to it. And then the reel I'm using is Daiwa TWS, a Coastal TWS, I think, um, with a handle that I bought separately, power handle. And then for my other, the orange one is actually at Abu Garcia. That one you won't be able to buy it here. You would have to live in Korea. So when I was in Korea, I bought the combo for about 70 bucks or so, I think. And it comes with a case for free. So it's pretty awesome deal. Um, I believe the rod is made in Korea, but then the reel is made in China. But it's a good reel. That's sort of my lucky reel. I've won um, multiple pools, and I won like I think over in some of the tournament in Korea over $1,000 worth of equipment using that rod. Um, I caught my flounder. I mean, not flounder, halibut. I think 36 inches, 17-pound one that I bought. I caught with that rod, so it's pretty cool. I mean, it's my lucky rod, and that rod won me the pool, which was 160 bucks for the day. I think there were about 20 people. So yeah, it's it keeps on giving. So if you're wondering how the trip is like to get out there, if you live in Maryland, for me, I live in Howard County, Maryland, so it takes me about 2.5 hour drive out to Ocean City. It's a great drive in the morning. I usually in the morning because there's no traffic. I use the Waze, and there's two paths. You still have to go over the 50 bridge, and you could detour through Delaware, or you could stay on 50 directly to Ocean City. I tried to avoid the 50 freeway because there's way too many Maryland troopers on there. So if you're driving anything over 60 mile, you're gonna get pulled over. I've seen people get pulled over for driving on like 65 mile on 55. There's a bunch of speed trap, at least two of them on your way there. So I take the Delaware detour. Delaware troopers or the police, they don't. I've for the last 3 years, I haven't seen a single car getting pulled over. I haven't seen a single trap. So I take, I wake up around 3 o'clock, and you would want to leave no later than 3:40 if you want to get there by 6:15 ish. Um, Given that you want to stop by to get some drinks or food, or use the restroom, take a break in between, and I always get breakfast sandwich. So I leave around 3:40. So Nick, who lives in Montgomery County, had to drive. Probably woke up earlier and left home around 3 o'clock, like 3:15 to get to my house by 3:40, and we carpooled out there together. The trip was much faster having a buddy talk about fishing and other things. So yeah, shout out to Nick again. He is fishing in the middle, if you see to the right, with the guy with the blue shorts. So here again, nonstop, a lot of small fish in between, but everybody caught a pretty fair amount of like a nonstop catch. So like I said, it takes about 2.5 hour drive, given how fast you drive. If you're driving, and I usually, if you get pulled over, you expect at least 30 minutes to an hour before they check your license, check your plate, run your license, and write you up a ticket, and figuring out whatever else they want to do or go after you on. I've been pulled over many times in Maryland, and it will take you at least an hour. So if you get pulled over, you're screwed. So in the morning, I never try to go over. I try to be very careful. And again, I'm not a big speeding guy. I drive a Prius, so anything over 60 mile, it's hard to. I think the Prius has like 100 horsepower or 80 horsepower, but if you drive anywhere between 60 and 70 miles, you'll get there by 6 o'clock. Between 6 and 6:15, given any rest stop in between. So here, it was going well. The weather's great. The captain had to adjust a couple times. Oh, yeah. I think Nick almost fell into the water because there was a chain next to the rail. And I almost fell into the water too because I had a chain next to the rail and I was leaning on it. But what else? That's a glove I bought for like $10. I've been using for almost a year and a half. And I recommend it just so if you're holding the sea bass by the lip, having a glove helps because it does have some teeth. It won't cut you, but it does scratch up your finger. I mean, your thumb, and your finger. So, like, I don't like the feeling of having part of my first layer of skin torn up. So, I would use a glove. And for flounder, do not never put your finger in a flounder. I've seen put their finger on a flounder lip and get their finger chopped. I mean, not chopped, but get bloody. So never put your finger, or if you catch flounder, just have the deckhand mates take care of it, net it and take care of it. So at this point, things were slowing down. I took a risk and decided, hey, I'm gonna go for the pool. So I switched to a bucktail double rig with 8 ounce on the bottom. So the way I was jigging is the way if you see most YouTube videos, flounder fishing, that's how they do it. Maybe I'm not doing it right, but this wasn't working. So you're gonna see I switch up both or multiple time that I do hook on a flounder is when I do a tap tap tap, as in just almost like you're walking or your heartbeat. It goes tap 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 tap, and then let the line go a little bit and it bites. So that's what happened. I was doing this little speeding, jigging for flounder really fast, tap, 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 and that wasn't working. So maybe it works for a certain condition for today at least. This is good to know because every time I caught a flounder, it was more of tap, 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 tap in that rhythm. Like, um, with the feel of the bottom sinker touching the bottom, almost like knocking on the floor, right? I went tap, 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 tap. So another thing is never swing it up to the boat, unless it's a small fish. The gentleman next to me said that looks like a keeper. And then always keep the head of the flounder in the water and just swing slowly back and forth so it doesn't panic and start jumping. And then when they bring the net, just guide it directly into the net. That's what I did. And it came out to be about 16 and 3/4, so about 17 inches. And then I think I was the only person at that time um, targeting flounder. I think there was another gentleman using a bucktail, and Nick tried it too, but it wasn't working on their side. I got lucky. So at this point, I was leading the pool. Maybe another person had a 21-inch bass. So but I knew the flounder is always heavier than any bass. So unless the sea bass was huge, I mean really heavy, I knew I had a pool winner, but um. I knew there were flounder down there. I had multiple bites. I didn't film all of them, but I kept getting a short bite, as in I got the bite, but I wasn't able to hook it, so I kept missing it. So again, here I go, not knowing how I caught it. For some reason, you never remember. So I started jigging really fast, tap 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 on the bottom, like knocking, tap 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 tap, but it wasn't working. So I think I switched it up, and you'll see my second flounder and the pool winner here. It was pretty fat and big, and it won me a $160 pool. So um, I like to tip the deckhands. So I think deckhands. I think this is my last year and this year combined. This is going to be my fourth time winning. So maybe I'm not getting lucky. Maybe I'm getting very lucky, but maybe I have some skills. But in total, I won. In last 3 4 years, I won about, I would say, 6 or 7 times. Four, five of them being a pool, ranging from 100 to 200 $250, and um, then two tournament in Korea where I won a $500 Shimano reel and a $400 Shimano what is it, Infinity rod, I think. But I go. I keep tap 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 tap, and now I'm going. Okay, did I do that? So I slowed it down like a slow jigging. It's like a knocking of knock 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 knock, and then there I go. I go back to tap 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 knock 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 knock, and watch here. The I knock knock knock, and I did get a bite. I lost it, right? So then don't reel it up. Just drop it again, and it's still there. At least the one that you missed it, or the one. There are other ones that are following your jig. So bucktail. So here I go. Knock, 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 and I missed it again. But now I'm starting to realize, okay, the knock, 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 slower, and I don't know why I went back to fast jigging, and now I know when I missed it again because I think I'm going too fast, and I'm not letting the flounder, swallow the whole thing. So here I'm going back to knock, knock, knock. So this time, this is the pattern I'm sticking to. And remind myself, knock, 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 not a knock, 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 because even if I get a bite, it's not going to completely swallow it. And again, this is just based on my experience and this a condition anchored, not drifting. So for this isn't the way to go, but it worked for me, and I'll probably stick to this pattern. And there you go, knock, 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 and then oh, I missed it again, right? So I'm getting frustrated here at this point, but kind of excited that there's enough flounder that I'm missing. That's about 3 or 4 that I have on the camera, that I was able to film that I missed. There are a lot more that I missed. So here, tap, 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 and finally I hooked it. So that's the technique I'm going to stick to from now on. And I'm so glad I filmed this, and this is one of the reason I film it more than YouTube. I share it with you guys. I hope you guys learned something and tried it. But Steve was hanging out, hoping that I'll win, because I told him, hey, if I win, if I get the pool, I'm gonna give you most of my winning. And I was like, oh, I hope you win, but and then I wound up winning 160, so I kept the 60 just so I could use another 20 to tip him. So I gave him 100, and then the pool and the tip should be different, so I gave him $100 in tip. I mean, for the pool tip, and then from $60 I gave him another 20. So this one turned out to be, I think, 20 inches or a little over 20 inches. So at this point with the 17 and a 20 inch, and this one was a little much fatter and heavier. So I thought I kind of felt good about winning. And I was just lucky because there weren't enough people targeting flounder, at least, and they weren't getting any bites on their side. So here's the fish that got away. At first, I thought this was another tap tap tap, and then if you notice, what I did wrong here, unlike the other two that I landed, were that I reeled too fast, and then I messed with the drag, and I instead of just keeping the tension, I pulled it up again, and I lost it. But I got a few more bites, but not a keeper, and I just went back to sea bass. And lesson learned. From now on, don't just stick to it, be consistent, and remember not to mess up again. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, please subscribe and like this video. Next video coming up will be fishing from California, because I'll be um, visiting California, and I'll be going on a couple party boats out there.